Welcome to another video, everyone. First of all, thank you to everyone who watched my last video about Gordon Ryan and how he got so good at Jiu Jitsu. There were so many comments about steroids and how PEDs played such a big factor in Gordon's rise to success. That led me to thinking, yeah, but everyone is on steroids. And then that thought led me to, well, does that mean that if someone wants to be successful in jiu-jitsu, they have to take steroids at this point? So I'm going to try to answer that question today. And for the record, not taking steroids is not the reason I will never win ADCC. There are plenty of other reasons for that. But could someone whose jiu-jitsu talent should be good enough to win actually pull it off without the juice? If not, then that might not be the future of jiu-jitsu that we want. What we should want, though, is a jiu-jitsu future that is full of epic roll. If you've got a body built by steroids or not, epic roll will have you looking your best both on and off the mats. Gis, rash guards, t-shirts, fight shorts, hoodies, hats, joggers, anything you need, Epic Roll has. Plus, when you use the code podcast15 at epicrollbjj.com, you can take 15% off your order. That's either 15% you could better spend on your PEDs or 15% you could buy some tacos. I don't think there's a middle ground. Make sure you follow Epic Roll on the gram at epicrollbjj and tag them when you're wearing your Epic Roll stuff, and they might just give you a shout out and a repost. epicrollbjj.com, coupon code podcast15. Now, let's talk about drugs. If you missed my last video, which, how could you? I said my stance on steroids, and it's basically this. I think you're wasting your time and money if you're a hobbyist competitor taking performance-enhancing drugs to help your jiu-jitsu. It's your money, do what you want, but seems like a waste to me. But my focus today isn't on the hobbyist or even the local competitor. My focus today is on the top levels of the sport and the athletes competing at the highest level. If you're someone who has the talent to win ADCC or win an IBJJF Black Belt World Championship, do you need to take steroids to actually win? Let's look at the winners of this year's ADCC divisions. Yuri Samoa's won Absolute. Doesn't scream steroids to me. Gordon Ryan won over 99 kilos, and he's kind of the reason we're talking about steroids today. Kainen won under 99 kilos. He was previously sanctioned for doping by USADA. Giancarlo Bodani won 88 kilos. He passes the eye test for me, at least. Cade Rotolo won 77 kilos, and he is a protege to Andre Galvao, who was juiced to his eyeballs in his super fight against Gordon. Guilty by association is an easy thing to say, but Cade is still a teenager. He's at the peak of when he can add size and strength naturally, and I would hope that he's not taking anything this young, since that can throw his hormones way out of whack forever. But as for now, he's probably clean, I think. Baby Shark won 66 kilos, and he's another guy who I think is clean and is super young, so I hope he's clean, just like with Cade. Amy Campo won over 60 kilos, and she seems clean, and she also faced and beat known juicehead Gabby Garcia, who has made her entire career out of saucing to the gills and beating competitors who are 75 to 100 pounds lighter than she is. I also think Fionn Davies, who won under 60 kilos, is clean. So on that list of winners, we have a few who are definitely on something, a few who I don't think they are, but wouldn't be surprised to find out they were juicing, and a couple who I would be shocked to learn they are taking something. Cade Rotolo actually said post ADCC that only a handful of athletes are clean. And I don't have the time, and I'm sure you don't want to watch me go through every competitor at ADCC and talk about who has failed a test in the past or who I think might be on something. Can you win ADCC clean? I think right now we had a few people who did, and I think you can, but it's a very hard road to the top since it seems like so many people are juicing. And that group of natural athletes seems to be shrinking to the point where it's only a matter of time that you need steroids to even be in the conversation about winning. It doesn't help that I'm pretty sure ADCC does no drug testing at all. And I'm sure people have already commented on this video that if it's not against the rules at ADCC, then we shouldn't complain. My argument to that would be, Why do we want everyone to be on something? If you're going to say that everyone is on something, so it's just a level playing field, then why is that better than everyone being clean? Why are we adding in something additional a person who has the talent to win needs to do just to make it into the tournament? Also, we know that ADCC is the highest level of no gi, and the highest level of gi would be IBJJF Worlds. I'm going to get into the IBJJF testing in a second, but at least they have it. Are we going to see a further divide between gi only competitors and no gi only competitors because the no gi side isn't tested and the gi side is? Would that be good for the sport as a whole? I'd argue it would not. Yes, IBJJF testing sucks. As has been said many times by many people before, it's more of an IQ test than a steroid test. They announce when the test will be ahead of time, so you'd have to be a real bonehead to not cycle off ahead of when you know a test will be. But at least it's something. Would it be better if it was an unannounced test and it was out of competition? Absolutely, but at least we have something. I understand that the IBJJF might not have the infrastructure to administer that many tests to that many athletes year round, but you know who the top guys are and you know who will be competing for gold medals every year at Worlds. At least test that group of people. When it comes to testing, I see two camps of people. One is test everyone like crazy. The other camp is let it be the wild, wild west and everyone can take anything they want. If I have to pick a camp, I'd rather have clean jiu-jitsu than juiced jiu-jitsu. As a fan, I get no more or less enjoyment out of watching a match if the athletes are taking something or not. And I don't want to get to a point in this sport where the choices are steroids or guaranteed losing. That's what it was in the 90s and early 2000s in a lot of sports, and I can't imagine why anyone would want to go back to that. I would argue that for jiu-jitsu to be considered a legitimate sport and have our athletes get the respect that they deserve as athletes, then there needs to be testing at the highest levels, and we need to see natural athletes competing in a clean sport. I know a large percentage of you will disagree with that, and that is exactly what the comment section is for. But I can't think of any other legit sport that has as much rampant steroid use as jiu-jitsu. And you can say the UFC, but again, at least they're trying to test. Obviously, your local tournament isn't going to have drug testing, just like your local recreational basketball league isn't going to have testing just because the NBA does. When you turn up on Saturday to compete, you probably will have at least some matches against guys on the sauce, and that's just the way it is. But as jiu-jitsu stands right now, a good athlete who is great at jiu-jitsu but either can't or won't start down the performance enhancing drug path has a much smaller chance of winning at ADCC or IBJJF Worlds, even if their jiu-jitsu would be good enough if everyone was clean. I think I'd rather be a clean champion amongst a clean division than be a juiced up champion in a juiced up division. I am genuinely curious though what your thoughts are on this and how many of you watching have in the past or currently do use performance enhancing drugs. Don't be afraid to sound off in the comments. Make sure to like this video and smash that subscribe button while you're at it. There's some videos on screen. You should click next and watch, and I will see you all next time.